Hey guys, it's Sylvia from Backyard Brushes, and in today's video I'm just going to do a quick DIY for a Christmas gift for my sister-in-laws. Every year I give them a homemade gift, and well, this year Christmas kind of snuck up on me. As you can see, I don't even have my tree decorated yet, but we're going to get this done. It's fun, it's quick, and it's easy, and it's very sentimental. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love my rolling pins. And in the past, I've made these for other individuals. I've held workshops, but I've never done it for my own family. So we're gonna change that with this video. So hopefully you guys are inspired. So let's get creating. So first you need a recipe. I started out by gathering pictures of my late mother-in-law's recipe and then my mother's recipe for her pumpkin cookies. Both recipes are in their writing from their recipe box. I took the pictures of the recipes and printed them off with a laser printer. It is probably, well, I chose to use a laser printer for less chance of smudging. You could use like an inkjet printer. However, I would spray it with hairspray first just to minimize the possibility of smudging. I printed the pictures of the recipes out on regular carbon paper, and then I used the wet brush method to tear the recipes out. I'm not worried about having the torn edge with the white copy paper showing, since I'll be adding distressing to it after it's adhered to the rolling pin. And I like the jagged edges. I think it just looks more rustic. So the first thing I did was actually clean the rolling pins off. I don't do that on camera, as again, I don't want my husband having any sort of proof that I know how to clean anything. I chose this beautiful red by Fusion Mineral Paints. It's called Highliner. I had tried it for the first time when I received it as one of the paint colors in Sonnet's Maker's Box for November, and I actually loved it. So I ordered more. With these Fusion Mineral Paints, you don't have to add a top coat, as that's already in the paint. And the paints are so heavily pigmented, I rarely need to use a second, or I don't even think I've ever used a third coat. And there's very minimal brush strokes. However, on these rolling pins, I did decide to do 2 coats. And when I'm thrifting rolling pins, it's always a huge score when I find one with the hole in the handle. Those are cool because when you use them for decor, you can add like a ribbon or twine and hang them. So I painted all my handles different colors. I used Fusion Mineral Paint, Cast Iron, and Everest. And then I also used Aged Gray by Rust-Oleum. I just like to have them all different and unique. Now I'm grabbing the rolling pin by the shaft, and I'm just giving it a few good yanks with a sanding sponge. I like to distress my items. I think it gives it that cute vintage rustic look. If you don't like the distressed look, you don't have to distress them. Or if the person you're giving them to probably don't like the distressed look, then don't distress them. Save yourself this step. But I personally like to distress them, so I'm just going over them with the sanding sponge. After I have all the handles distressed, I'm going to use liquid patina, And I'm going to carefully adhere the recipe to the barrel of the rolling pin. So I just kind of use my fingers and I eyeball it. You can measure it if you want it centerized. So I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want to place it. You can also put towels next to your rolling pin to prevent them from rolling. However, I'm just going with it. So I'm just laying down some liquid patina. You could use whatever product you like best for decoupaging. I just have really been using the liquid patina more and more, especially when I'm not using the hot iron method to adhere the papers. So I have it placed where I'd like it, and I'm just going over it with thin layers of the liquid patina, thinner layers to help prevent wrinkles, and then I just smooth it with my fingers as I go along. Once I have the recipe adhered to the rolling pin, I do take another thin layer of the liquid patina and I go over the top of the recipe just to, one, seal it and to help make sure that it's adhered to the rolling pin. And again, I just use my fingers to roll out any areas I feel like I may be getting some wrinkles. Fortunately, with liquid patina, I can actually lift the paper back up and reset it down if I feel like there's air in there or if I need to remove it or reposition the paper. You have a few minutes of work time before you cannot move the paper and that it is solidly adhered to the rolling pin. I adhered all 4 recipe cards the same way. Now, to give it kind of that aged rustic look, I'm kind of deciding what I want to use. You can use a wax. However, I decided to use the Dark and Decrepit dusting powder. I love this powder. Normally, I would put it under, I'd put the product, the rolling pin, on top of some parchment paper. That way, whatever pigment falls down or doesn't adhere, I could put it back into the cup. But at this point, I'm just going with it. So I'm using a little baby brush and I'm just taking the powdered pigment and rubbing it along the edge lines. And it's actually adhering pretty well to the liquid patina. I started to kind of make a mess, but that's okay. I'm just gently tapping around the edges with the powder. I just love how the powder blends into those edges with all the torn ripness. And it also stains the white with that brown, and you get different shades. And it's just one of my favorite products. It works very well. I've learned the hard way once I've done applying the powder, not to just take liquid patina or Big Top and rub right over it, as it will smear the powder. However, I will let it dry on there, tap it off, and then gently go over it with a liquid patina or a Big Top. Or, depending on the project, I might just spray it with some Rust-Oleum clear coat. I decided I wanted to add some brown wax. So I'm grabbing Fusion Mineral Cocoa Wax. It's a furniture wax. And I'm going to tap it and smooth it around my handles. And then I'm going to gently rub it off once I feel like it's sat in there, just to get into the distressed areas and the crevices. Once I have the handle fully covered, I just grab a paper towel and I wipe off that extra wax. And it's really fun to mix up the different wax colors with the different handles. And because I'm using Fusion mineral paint, I don't need a top coat before I apply the wax. And I really do love how that dark and decrepit dust gets right into the crevices and gives it that vintage feel. Just makes it feel old. So after applying the waxes and all the handles, I did want to show you what I decided to do with the one rolling pin. I grabbed the liquid patina, dark and decrepit liquid patina, and I decided to use it over this whole rolling pin, and it really kind of gave it a really cool, darker feel. And it's a great way to get out the orangish kind of tones that you might be experiencing in the wood of your rolling pins. So I'm just rubbing it on, or I should say painting it on. I'm covering the handle with the dark and decrepit liquid patina. Then I'm just going to grab that paper towel and wipe it off. And it just kind of darkens up the handle a little bit more than the wax that I had previously used. And then I do the second handle before I wipe off the handles. Just gives it more time for that dark and decrepit to kind of soak into or sit on the wax before I wipe it off. I just love how it just kind of darkens and accentuates the distressed look of that handle. So I have to take off the extra liquid patina, dark and decrepit, off the second handle. Next, I'm going to grab my brush and sticking with that dark and decrepit liquid patina, I'm going to rub that brown all over my whole barrel of the rolling pin. I'm just going to let it seep right in. And I'm feeling pretty confident about the dust. So I'm going around the edges with the liquid patina where the dust is at, because I'm trying not to spread it. And I'm just kind of working it in with the dark and decrepit. And then once I get the whole barrel covered, I actually feel pretty confident enough that the dust isn't going to smudge over the whole recipe. And I just take my brush and I go over the whole recipe and the whole barrel of the rolling pin. I'm just loving like how dark this is And it just felt like it enriched and helped age that rolling pin. And then once I feel like the whole rolling pin has been covered, I just take that paper towel and I just wipe it down. And if you notice, I go right over that recipe and I have no issues with the dark and decrepit dust rubbing in. And it just leaves this just beautiful brown dark tone on the rolling pin. I decided not to do the other rolling pins in that color or that method because I just wanted that contrast that the lighter barrels had with the colors that was on the handles. But I do love the choices when it comes to all the different products you can use, the colors of paints, the waxes, the patinas. You're just limited by your own creativity, to be honest. So you guys, what'd you think? I, of course, love these. This one actually had a hole in the handle, which to me is a bigger score when I'm getting rolling pins. So I just put some crushed velvet ribbon on it for it to hang by. And he can always change out the color or twine, whatever, goes with their kitchen better. But I love these because they're sentimental. Can't believe I've never made them for my family members before since I've made so many for others. I don't think my sister-in-laws or even my brother are going to see their gift, if I release this video, because I'm sure they don't watch me. They get enough of me in real time, real life. They don't need to see me on TV too. But I'd love to hear that I'm wrong. You don't get the opportunity to tell me I'm wrong that often. So Denise, Kathy, Lynn, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Otherwise, I hope you guys do enjoy your rolling pin. And if you guys find this inspirational, please hit subscribe below and follow me along on my creative journey. I hope you have a happy holidays and we'll see you next year. Thank you.